Good day. It's still the 23rd of June, 2021. Don't go running in the sun if you either bake and then you come into the house and it's cold, So I don't know. But you have to go running in the sun because you have to be used to it and get in shape so you can pass these physical tests. This one is Meet the New Boss, same as the old boss. As you know, or might know, or definitely will have to know, the heads of various agencies, the law enforcement agencies, are appointed by the president. They have to be confirmed by the Senate. They serve at the pleasure of the president. And these folks can make or break the agency. And I'll do one later on the different administrators of DEA and which ones I thought were good and which ones I thought were terrible. But again, these folks have a lot of say. They can make your life good. They can make your life miserable. So we're going to look at the people coming into the FBI, the Marshals, the DEA, the ATF, Customs and Border Protection, the Border Patrol, and any other agency that has been announced. And those that haven't been announced, well, they haven't been announced yet. So I'm going to put on a little slide presentation with the nominee and their background, and then I'll talk a little bit about it afterward. Well, here you go. It's, again, each agency headed by a presidential appointee. They report to the cabinet secretary. They have to be confirmed by the Senate. They serve at the pleasure of the president. Let's roll. Now, the first one I'm going to look at is one that he probably will not change at all. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, and unlike other agencies, the director of the FBI holds or is supposed to hold office for a 10-year term. And Mr. Wray was appointed by President Trump in 2018, and he's likely to remain in the FBI. I highly doubt that he'll be removed. Now, there is a circumstance, of course, where previous Director Comey was fired in 2017, I believe it was, by President Trump, and Director Sessions was removed by President Clinton. So it's not unprecedented. Maybe they'll get rid of this guy, but I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. So now let's look at other agencies in DOJ. ATF. David Chipman has been nominated to head ATF, BATFE, but I'm just going to call it ATF. And he is a retired special agent, and he's currently the head of Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence, previously known as Americans for Responsible Solutions, founded by Representative Gabby Giffords, who, if you don't know, she was a representative from Arizona, and she was shot in the head by some mindless person with a weapon and permanently damaged, permanently suffered a permanent disability as a result of that. Now, the organization that he heads is in favor of gun control, to include bans on so-called assault weapons, high-capacity magazines. They want whatever you refer to as a universal background investigation. All of these politically charged things this guy is in favor of, as well as, and I think, most likely when I look at their website, to be intellectually honest, and I think we do have to be honest, probably private gun ownership, okay? And a little bit more, he has been criticized as an activist, which makes sense. I mean, he's the head of a political activist group. You don't hire, someone who isn't pro-life to be the head of the American Life League, okay? I mean, you just don't do that. You don't appoint someone who's, obviously you want someone who's an ideologue, a political person to head a partisan, an ideological group that has definite ends. Now, Chipman is opposed by previous ATF director Michael Sullivan, who describes him as not being for gun control, but being anti-gun. And Susan Collins, who's a senator from Maine, she said she will vote against him, claiming he's too divisive to hold the position. And if confirmed, he doesn't seem like a bad guy to me. I mean, I watched his confirmation. The Republicans don't like him. The Democrats do. But I think he will likely lead efforts to combat crime by doing everything in his power, legally in his power, to limit legal firearms ownership. They're going to go after what's called gun violence. And they're going to do that by getting rid of guns, by going after people who own guns. Unless maybe you have a one-shot musket, that's probably okay. But just about everything else, I think they have a problem with it, to be honest. And that's what we're trying to do. Customs and Border Protection. Well, about 2 hours ago, the chief was removed by President Biden told to resign, basically, and has been replaced with acting chief Raul Ortiz. And it's not clear who will be named to the position permanently, but it's not a big surprise because this man praised President Trump, and he's been outspoken about what's going on the border, and it's not good. So I'm surprised he was on board as long as he was. Okay. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Chris Magnus has been nominated by President Biden to be the commissioner of CBP, which would place him at the head of the CBP officers and the Border Patrol. He began his career as a police officer in Lansing and rose through the ranks. He became chief of police in Fargo, North Dakota, and established a migrant outreach program. Then he went to chief of police in Richmond, California, where he was an early supporter of the BLM movement. He currently serves as chief of the Tucson Police Department. He's unusual in that he is married to a man, so that's unusual in law enforcement. Tend not to see that too often. He was an definite opponent of President Trump's immigration policies. He has pulled the Tucson officers from the Marshals task force. And he's opposed by the Border Patrol Officers Union. Now, does this make him a bad guy? No. I mean, Democrats are going to put people in that, probably represent their values. And he doesn't seem like a bad guy. I saw a video on YouTube where he was stopped by an officer from his own department, and he was decent to the guy and thanked him. He didn't give him a ticket. He didn't dare do that, but he didn't rip the guy to shreds. And obviously he knew he was on body camera, but I don't have anything against him. I would want someone in there wants to enforce the immigration laws and understands the trouble that the Border Patrol agents are going through right now. I think that's really the most important thing, rather than his preference, or whatever. That's not my concern. My concern is, what kind of commissioner is he going to be? And is he going to take care of the people under him? And is he going to do the job that he was hired to do? And that's a good question. Okay, the Marshals Service, it's currently headed by Don Washington, who was nominated by President Trump in 2018, and there is no indication that he's planning to replace Mr. Washington. The DEA, yes, President Biden has nominated Ann Milgram, former AG of New Jersey and a university professor, to head the DEA. DEA has been without an administrator since 2015, when Michelle Lenhart resigned in the wake of a rare no-confidence vote by the House Judiciary Committee. They've just had acting since then. And that's why everyone in DEA has such high morale. There's nobody there to give them a hard time. I mean, I hate to say it, but, a lot of times the low morale in an agency is tied to the head of that agency. But, I don't know what she will be like. I have no idea. I have watched a number of her TED Talks, and she is a proponent of the use of computer models to predict which criminals pose the greatest risk. She loves this movie Moneyball, which is about baseball. She constantly talks about it. So if you're in DEA, Moneyball, watch that movie, and when you brief her, bring it up. Okay, in a talk, she lamented that we detain offenders based on what they've done and not what they're likely to do. So, she definitely is a proponent of risk, incarcerating people based on the risk that they are likely to pose. Now, these are the ones that the people who have been put forward so far. Others will undoubtedly be put forward, and as they are, or as people are removed, I'll keep you advised on that. So that's it. I mean, you get the government you vote for, and hopefully they will all work out. And they all seem like nice people, basically. I don't see anyone that really strikes me as being a tyrannical person. They may not be qualified for the job that they're going for or being appointed to, but if they're willing to learn, I'm willing to give anyone a benefit of a doubt. Okay, thank you for watching, and have a good day.